It's now time for the most exciting part of the course. You've been waiting for it. It is how to make a table in Canva. I'm Mark. We need to know mainly around the styling because it is a little bit strange. Okay, we'll look at that. We'll just quickly go over the basics: adding, removing, merging, the way to select things. It's a little bit unique for Canva, but if you know tables, this is going to be easy. Where it gets a little bit more nuanced is kind of how to do the styling. Yes, we make a brown on brown table. It's where the tutorial went anyway. And right at the end hang round, I'll show you how I use Magic Write to kind of use AI to generate a bit of placeholder text. Here you go. It is tables time, where Dan tries to make it exciting by talking enthusiastically. Let's do it. All right, adding a table is easy. I'm gonna put a return in. We're looking for this little plus button here. If this doesn't appear, it wasn't appearing for me for a little while because this little help thing was open from Canva. They were like, hey, tell us how we're going. And I couldn't get the plus thing to work. Took me a while. So I ended up having to default to, you can kind of see it there in the shortcut, is the /. That's the quick action. Okay, the quick action here just means I can type in whatever I want. So I type in table and enter it that way. Or hit the little plus button if you can see it. Now we're gonna decide on what kinds of tables we need. I'm gonna have 2 rows across and I'm going to have 4 down for my table. Now adjusting them is easy, just drag them. We won't go through all the details of like how to work with tables. We'll just skim over the basics. If we need another column, hit the little plus button at the top. I'm going to hit undo. The other way to do it is to click in the cell and then you get these little dots, okay? Either the ones that kind of represent the columns and one that represents the rows. Okay, and the top of the columns here gives you a lot of that detail, but kind of like listed out. So you'll be like, all right, I want to add a column, okay? Or you can use the little shortcut, undo. The other things hiding in there are things like merge. If I want to merge all this big group here, or if I want to merge across this way, select this. Okay, this thing here at the end, this little 3 dots, it's a really great way of selecting that entire row. Okay, I'm going to merge the cells that way. I'm going to undo. Removing cells is the same. Okay, you can delete a whole column in there. You can once you've got content. I'm going to type in. Okay, if you have got columns that need to be moved around, you select the whole thing and you can move it up or down a row. Okay, or you can just drag this thing afterwards. So you kind of click on it, it kind of pops out. You can pop it back in and then just kind of drag these things around to move it to different parts of your table. Another helpful thing, if you have got anything selected, okay, you'll see this other option here, okay? Obviously there's the easy delete, but you can see in the more, okay, basically you get the same list as you did over here. Same features, just kind of different ways of accessing it. To select the whole project, I find it's easy to grab the move option. You can't really move it. You can obviously drag the table around using the move, okay? But it's in the flow of document, more like a Word document, so you can't kind of like move it down a couple of pixels. You've got to be in line with the text. But I find grabbing that move one, okay, is a great way, either this way or this way, to grab the whole table, because what I want to do is look at some of the styling. Let's stop with the boring table stuff. Let's start with the styling it. So overall, okay, now that I've got everything selected, you can go up the top here and say, all right, I'm going to do some styling. So you've got to be quite purposeful. I'll demo it, it makes sense. So if I say all of the squares, even the ones in between, are this other color, they'll all change. Now, if I'm like, actually, I want to change maybe just the top and the bottom of this. I just want top and bottom, but I don't want the sides. I can say, all right, row, you are up here going to be just top and bottom and sides, just because there's no exact top and bottom one. Okay, and I want you to be this other color. I'm going to pick a real crazy color so we can see it. Okay, and I also want it to be really thick. Okay, what you'll notice is it's done it, but it left the guy in between. Okay, so now if I want to get rid of that, I select the whole thing and I say, all right, lines in between. Okay, going vertical, horizontal, vertical. Good work, Dan. Okay, is I want you down to a border weight of none. Okay, and now that'll go. There's still 2 cells there. Okay, you can still see there's 2 cells. I can have 2 things. Do you get the idea? You do. It's kind of a one-way street. You don't kind of like change the whole thing. You don't say, all right, I want them all just to have the tops. You do the tops and then you remove the bits you don't want. So what I want is what you saw at the beginning. I'm going to kind of get it back to some sort of normalness. I could undo, but I'm going to show you. Let's go. You are going to be this gray color. And they're all going to be, when it's got these dotted lines in here, it's like, I've got a couple of things selected, so I'm not sure what you mean. So you just have to type it in. So now we're kind of back to square one. All lines everywhere are 2. All right, before I style this column, let's look at the whole thing again. And we've been doing the border. Have a look at spacing. Okay, it will give you table spacing and cell spacing. Okay, depends on what you need. Generally, you just need cell spacing. Table spacing will obviously separate the cells and have a gap in between them. Okay, it's not what I want. In this case, I want to maybe open up the spacing. At the moment, you might be able to figure it out, but I can't figure out how to do it individually for cells. It's quite a global one. All right, so now I want to style this column separate from this one. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the whole column and then I'm going to go into my borders. And this is where you can kind of get a little bit lost. You're like, all right, I want the tops, the middles, and the bottoms to be a dark brown, and I don't want these horizontal, vertical. Come on, Dan. Vertical lines to be anything. I want them to be blank. So what do? You could either make them all blank and then add the tops and bottoms, bottoms, and middles, or you can do it the other way around. Add the tops, bottoms, and middles and remove the outsides afterwards, because you can select more than one. So watch this. Let's do it one way, Dan. Just show them one way. All right, I want to go the top. And if I just do the top, I could do the bottom afterwards, but you could do the tops and the bottoms at the same time. Can you see the highlighted? Okay, I can say, oh, the middles as well, because I want the middles to all be a brown color. And I'd like them all to be a heavier weight. I'm going up to 5. Ooh, cool. So now I've got these sides. You're like, oh, okay, I forgot the sides. It's kind of a two-step process. I want to clear these off now. So select all that whole column. I'm going to go into here and I'm going to say, I want the outsides to be a weight of 0. And there we go. What I also want is with it all selected, okay, I would like to have a fill color. At the moment, it is this whole row is filled with no fill color. I'm going to pick one of my primary colors. Let's go in and change all of the text. Okay, so I'm going to select the whole thing, this whole column, to say, instead of doing it individually, I can say you, and I'm going to say you're all bold, okay, and you're all going to be the color of one of my primary colors. And bold, just so you know, a shortcut is Command B. Okay, can you see Command B? On a Mac, Control B on a PC, and Command on a Mac, Control on a PC. I is italics. Underline is Command or Control U. There's a few, if you're using these, strike through, or what is it? I can't remember what strike through is. I don't use that enough, but there are shortcuts for a lot of the kind of really common font changes like bold, underline, and italics. What am I doing over here? I'm going to select this whole column and I'm just going to remove it all. So I'm going to say all of the bits are going to be a weight of 0. Okay, and I'm just going to have them listed on this right-hand side here. Is this a great table design? It's one that shows you all the features. Let's just call it that. It's good enough. One of the last things I want to show you is, see in here, if you want to select the cell that you're in, okay, you can kind of get it. It's not super hard, but a real common way across multiple programs is if your cursor's flashing in here and you hit the escape key on your keyboard, it will select the entire cell you're in. That works in every program that uses tables. Okay, it's really common to hit escape on your keyboard, kind of top left of your keyboard. But this one here is not too hard to grab. Okay, you can generally just grab the cell and work on that on its own. Why? For no good reason, to make it kind of an uglier table. There you go. The last thing I wanted to show you was in this cell here, we want some, draft copy. I'm not very good at writing, I find, I'm not a wordsmith. So Magic Write, we've kind of bumped into it earlier on. Let's have a little look at it. It's AI writing. It might not be in this prominent position by now, okay, but you're looking for Magic Write. And this is what I told it to do. I said, give me a paragraph about the objectives we should hit for Black Friday, paid ad campaign for a camping store, okay, and hit generate. And I got something, at least it's a good first draft. Okay, it's a kind of way for me to get started. You might be using other AI tools for this. Magic Write is Canva's version of it. What I find it mostly good for is filling in kind of bulk copy, just to kind of fill a copy, knowing that we'll go back and kind of spend a bit more time on this. And as such, we're going to go through and just make it how long we want it to be. There you go. And yes, we're probably going to need some lines in between, Dan, because that's not good. So you border weight of 1, and I'm going to pick one of the light colors. There we go. Need a little bit of separation. All right, that's it. That is boring old tables, but are useful in Canva. And if we style them, you too can make one that is brown on brown. You get the idea though, hopefully. Let's make something prettier in the next video, I promise. See you then.